What's up, warriors? So here's our second video of the grief series, motivational series of short videos. I try to keep them short anyway. So the second word that I'm going to go with in the stages of grief is anger. And actually, I think anger is actually one of the words I've done before as far as word of the day or something like that. But anger, to be motivational, again, fight is all about perspective. Fight books, and then you have the fight mission. So how can we turn anger into positivity? Well, anger is definitely a powerful emotion, right? So is hate, and so is love. But anger is definitely something that you can utilize, which is where some people will say, I did something out of spite of something. Oh, you think I can't do anything? Well, watch me do it, kind of thing. And that is when anger is used for a positive. Hopefully you're going towards something that's positive, like going to basic training. You're gonna get angry to, I don't know, go chase your dreams to get a degree of whatever you wanted. Hopefully you're gonna use it in a positive way at the end, but you are able to channel your energy. I mean, there's even other cultures that talk about channeling energy, and that's why I love the idea of meditating and yoga and other different things. But anger, especially, I don't know if it's for everyone, but it's definitely for a lot of us, especially me. Anger is one of the very, very first emotions that show up. It's never late. If anything, it's early. It's sitting at the edge of the surface, so where even a switch or someone says something, I am easily triggered and I'm ready to go off. Hence why I like to run. It's why I was drinking, to hold myself back. But after years of meditating and trying to refine myself to control those negative emotions, I had to do a lot of self-therapy, so that's why I'm weird. But through it all, I was able to find ways to take a step back. Now, of course, I've heard some people say they count to 10, taking a deep breath, you count to 10, count backwards from 10, say the alphabet or something like that. Whatever works for you, by all means, if that works for you. But for me, it's for using that emotion to more of using it for spite. I've had people say I would never amount to anything. I had my ex-husband say that I would never amount to anything, that none of my dreams would come true, and different things. And yet here I am. I'm working on my master's. I do have children. I do have a farm. So, and I have my own house. So I actually have a lot now. So proving people wrong is kind of a joy. Came out of trauma, like coming from my family, and then of course the military and other issues like myself. I get angry at myself, but guess what? I can't escape myself. And so I am my worst enemy, and I have to deal with that. I have to remember every single day that it's a new day. But because of Fight and my readers and the lives that Fight has saved, that was definitely the icing on the cake, because I still think negative thoughts, but because of you guys and the Fight mission, I am still here. But with anger still lives in me, but we can use it to try to fuel it towards something positive. Use anger as, I'm trying to think of a good example. It's really hard to, because each individual is going to be different. Each situation is going to be different. So we have anger as an emotion. Now, anger is part of the grief stage as well, but I really wasn't trying to get involved with the stages of grief, because everyone starts at a different point. You're going to hit anger at some point. Now, as far as like in the last video when we talked about denial, when I lost my friend, granted I've had multiple friends unalive themselves, and including superiors, and anger, I don't know if anger, okay, Will was a third person, yes, because there was a time he told me, you ever unalive yourself and I will bring you back to life and I will unalive you myself. So for him to say that and then to end up how it did, that part made me angry, because it wasn't fair. So I had to deal with all of that, going through that. But to be more motivational for you, because I don't know your story, I don't know what you're going through, but whatever it is, and I'm not saying you have to tell me, because Fight just wants to be a voice for those who feel like they lost theirs. I just know there's a lot of people out there hurting in silence. But I hurt in silence too, I do put a lot of information out to you guys, but I don't really have anything to hide, not really. But as far as anger, to make it positive, the moment you feel something angry, if something makes you angry, something you said, someone walked in the room, something triggered your anger, realize where it came from and then find out why. Why does it make you angry? This is where you're able to re-find the root of what's causing you to be angry. Why is it making you angry? Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it just something? And then you got to resolve whatever that root of is causing your anger. Once you resolve it, or even acknowledge it, some emotions and triggers are just, you just acknowledge that it's a thing. It took me a long time to acknowledge that my mother wasn't a good person. And she was very narcissistic and everything else. Very long story. But because of that, that's actual other trauma. But it wasn't until I became an adult that I started realizing, or really going through my healing journey of everything, getting out of the army, I started handling that trauma as well. So double dose of trauma. How exciting. But there was a lot of anger. And so once I found where a lot of the root came from, I didn't have to talk to her directly about anything. Not for me. Some people have to talk to the individual if it is a human being that causes your anger. But for me, it was acknowledging that it did happen, that something was said. I'm not crazy. I was treated like I was crazy all my life. I'm not crazy. And after that, I cut ties. I burned that bridge, sort of, kind of. But I'm okay with cutting ties. It doesn't matter if you're blood related. It doesn't matter who you are. I am not above cutting ties. But that's because once I realized what made me angry, and I realized that anger can be good, but it does cause destruction. And I did throw my life away because of anger. I drank very heavily because of anger. I did a lot of stupid things, and I said a lot of stupid things to people. And I hated that. Once I acknowledged that I didn't like that side of me, or I didn't like who I was becoming, I acknowledged it and I cut that rope. So I was able to step away. Now I have that control that it's not going to make me angry. Not being around my mom does make me angry. I haven't seen my ex in forever, and I hope I never do. But he is a veteran, so it's a terrifying thought. But I encourage you today, if you are struggling with anger, find out what the root is and why does it cause you anger. What is making it? Why are you troubled by it? And if you just cannot resolve it while doing that, you need to stay away. Now, of course, there are special situations where that's not possible, but realize that fact and try to find someone who can help you maintain that balance, especially if it's an individual that's standing in the room that you don't like or whatever the situation is. Find someone who can have your back where you can either vent to or just alleviate some of that pressure so you don't go overboard. So I encourage you to stay positive. Realize who you are and know that it is okay to be you. Anger is an emotion. Emotions make us human. That is all. We just don't want those emotions to control us, especially to push us overboard. Keep fighting the fight today.